up, guys? Max here, back with another episode of the ScuttleButt Show. Thank you to everyone who joined me for my last night, your this morning's kind of unusual, different stream. I hope you guys had a great time. I had a fantastic time with that. We will have to do that again. Let me say what's up to everybody in the chat. We've got a Harry Lime Pie tuning in early and Ika as well, both members of the channel. So thank you guys very much for being here. MC is in the chat from Patreon. All the patrons, thank you very much for being here. What's up to Nuggets, Sardev? Thanks for coming back. Pro Hero, happy Coast Guard birthday out there to you too. Everybody, Eric, Chris, everybody, Lucas, welcome to the show. It's going to be a crazy show. And I want to let you guys know one very, very special guest is in the audience today. My wife is watching for the first time ever, catching a live show because she's not working right now. So she's actually able to tune in and check it out. So she's out there. So listen up, guys. Definitely don't waste your time leaving comments like, Max is the best. The ScuttleButt Show has changed my life. Knowing that he's going to be streaming live just gives us a reason to get out of bed in the morning. You know, definitely don't leave comments like that. Right? You guys feel me? It's if there was ever a day to make the comments section special, it's today. So shout out to my wife who's watching the show. ScuttleButt salute is having a person to your left sniff your fingers. Interesting. I am down with that, I guess. Sheesh. Lukewarm Water says, hey, his wife is in the chat. Be professional, boys. Nuggets, you know, you guys know what to do in the chat. Just have a good time and enjoy the show because we do have a crazy show. Justin says, the ScuttleButt is my daily therapy. Behind every great man is a great woman. Very true. Mudrock, what's up? Hello, Mrs. Bloom. Thank you, Mudrock, for greeting my wife out there. Max is the best, favorite streamer, 10 out of 10. Without him, YouTube would be boring. Yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you guys so much. Because we do have a crazy show today. There's updates on this Bonham Richard fire that I can't wait to just basically run my mouth about, insulting this loser who lit the Bonham Richard on fire and destroyed the entire ship. Can't wait. Can't wait. Let's see. No repeat with that dono like this morning. Oh, dude, no worries. The wheels are in motion. Things are in motion now that cannot be stopped. So we've got, I don't know if you guys heard about this. I kind of heard about it, but more information has come out about it. That's kind of insane. A police officer was murdered at the Pentagon yesterday, and I've got some stuff about that I got to share with you guys. We've got a new movie coming out starring T-1000, the Terminator himself, the best Terminator of all time, in my opinion. And we've got a story that is going to just shake your nerves to the core. Is that an expression? Do people say that? Shake your nerves to the core? Put it in the quote book. It's going down in history. All joking aside, you know all this talk about MC 499's super chat for Mrs. Bloom. Thank you so much. I am honored. I am so proud to share that moment with my wife out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beaufort says, I've been away from your channel for a week. Unfortunately, that's fine. You know, people come and go. We got Jacob Donenworth who just jumped in after like several months, and now he's back. MC, thank you. Your continuing support means the world to me. You rock, and I really appreciate it. We've got a story. You know, you guys have heard, we've talked about on the show, renaming bases named after Confederate generals, Confederacy generals, right? We've had this conversation. We've talked about it. My thoughts on it, your guys' thoughts on it, all this stuff. Then, you know, today, I see this thing that happened at Fort Benning, and I'm just like, rename them all. It's totally got me shook to my core, as Nugget says. Shake you to your core. Shake your nerves to the core of your gut and make your brain shake too. All right? That's what this story is. We've got, is the Mrs. Bloom also from New York? No, she's not. I'm not going to put out any of her background, her personal info. We'll have to have her on the show sometime. She can share whatever she wants to about herself. John, what's good in the hood? How was your night driving for Uber Eats? Let's, you know what? Let's just get right into the meat and potatoes, if you will, of today's show with our first story. How about that? Man who fatally stabbed Pentagon officer had a troubled past. Let's talk about the assailant here, the murderer, who unfortunately is now dead too. So, you know, that's always the worst thing to come to grips with, is a tragedy like this happens. A person is murdered, and then the murderer is killed too, and you just are left going, now what? Now what? You know, like, where do you go from there? How do you even come to terms with that. It's absolutely ridiculously bad news here. So anyway, let's cover it really quick. Officials seek clues about what prompted a Georgia man to fatally stab a Pentagon police officer. Details of the suspect's troubled past emerged Wednesday through interviews and records. His name's Austin William Lands, 27 years old. He was arrested in April for breaking into somebody's house, wandering around, and then leaving. And after he was arrested, he goes, but I didn't even take anything. Well, what am I in trouble for? He sounds like a totally crazy person. He thought people were watching him, that drones were flying around the neighborhood watching him. But this is, they're saying that this is a troubled, violence-prone individual and not part of a broader conspiracy. So this is like a crazy person who, I don't know what this ad is on my screen. That's creepy. It says lawyer's favorite. I don't even know what this is. So this person sounds like just a weird, deranged individual who is a little bit off his rocker, and he ends up exiting a bus at the Pentagon Transit Center and immediately stabs the victim, Gonzalez, without provocation. The two struggled, and Lands shoots himself with Gonzalez's weapon, and then other officers engaged the suspect, who ultimately died at the scene. It's crazy. Investigators were examining Lance's background, including his criminal history, jail records, financial information, and any online accounts in search of a motive. One episode of likely interest to investigators is an April arrest in Cobb County, Georgia, in which Lands was accused of breaking into Brent's home in the Atlanta suburb of Ackworth in the middle of the night with a crowbar at a young age. First time that he lost was when he tried to join the Marine Corps and went to boot camp and got kicked out of boot camp. It's not that hard to finish boot camp, okay? You just have to go through the motions, do what you're told, show up on time, and look good in uniform, as you guys remember me saying last night. But this guy couldn't do it. He couldn't hang, and he ended up getting kicked out of the Marine Corps. He joined, and the year that he joined was 2012, October 9th, but he got administratively separated on November 2nd, only a few weeks after joining. Obviously, someone detected something was wrong with this guy. It says here he never earned the title Marine. But the story gets worse from there, because the more we learn about the victim, police officer killed in attack outside of the Pentagon, he was an Iraq war veteran. The police officer was an Iraq war veteran, the guy who was killed. So this is a guy, the murderer is a loser. I mean, he might have been crazy, and so that's a factor here too. But he just was not a good, not a dude who had it all together, a threat to society. And he got kicked out of the Marine Corps. And now this guy who was killed, George Gonzalez, was an Iraq war veteran who is now living his life as a police officer guarding the Pentagon, guarding our nation's capital, and he was murdered just out of nowhere. I mean, he never had a chance. The Pentagon police officer killed by a knife-wielding assailant Tuesday was identified by the Defense Department as George Gonzalez, an Iraq war veteran. He was 37 years old. He was attacked at a bus platform outside the Pentagon on Tuesday morning. Lands stabbed Gonzalez, then shot himself with Gonzalez's weapon, according to the FBI, before he was shot by other officers on the scene. A civilian bystander injured in the incident has been released from medical care. Before becoming a cop at the Pentagon Force Protection Agency, the PFPA, I guess, Gonzalez, a native of Brooklyn, New York, was an artilleryman, serving as cannon crew member in the active duty Army from April 2003 to November 2005. His life was one of service, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said. A veteran of both the police and the military, he lost his life protecting those who protect the nation. He deployed to Iraq from August 2004 to July 2005, basically a year-long deployment, which is a long time. He earned a combat action badge, according to an Army spokesperson. He also served in Army Reserve from November to March 2005 to March 2011, and he left as a sergeant. And it's kind of, you guys might be wondering, 2 years active duty, how does that work? There's a common contract that people in the military sign when they join to do 2 years active duty. That's like the very minimum time. And then when you get out, you usually roll right into the reserves, because the reserves usually will keep you for 8 years total. You're on the hook for the reserves. Even if you're in active reserves, which is the IRR, the inactive ready reserve, I believe is what it is, they'll keep you on there for 8 years, and you could always be recalled back to active duty at any point in that time. But after 8 years of either active duty service or your IRR, inactive reserve time, elapses, you're free and clear from the military. You're out completely. So he lands, they're saying here, they're reiterating, he tried to join the Marine Corps, couldn't do it for whatever reason. He got kicked out. He had a very disturbed life and ultimately took the life of Officer Gonzalez here, who tragically passed yesterday, Tuesday. So that's horrible. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that in the comments. Just absolute tragedy, absolute tragedy. And where do you go from there? You know, where do you go? The advertisement is sus. The ad, what the hell? Seriously, is that Kelly Kapowski? I don't know, Justin. It could be. Oh, Kelly Kapowski. We need to hook you up with a pie hole. Is that a person? Shut your pie hole. Not you, but that's just an expression that came to my mind. Dang, so sad, so young. Damn, a veteran and a police as well. My worst fear is having some random psychopath comes up behind me and stabs me in the neck. Beaufort and then being eaten alive. I hope those two things never happen back to back to you, Beaufort. I do. Why being eaten alive? What an interesting thing to have a fear of. I've never even considered that as something that even could happen to me. Should I? Have I been wrong the whole time? Wait, have I not been adequately afraid of being eaten alive? Is this something that should be on my radar? I definitely don't want that. Now, your other comment, you know, this idea that there's a real threat to us just walking down the street, that somebody might come up and do harm to one of us is real. It's a real thing. It happens to people all the time. But you can't go around afraid of living your life, too, at the same time. I lost a friend like that, a dear friend of mine, and I've talked about on the show before, was killed in a random act of violence. And it was really tough, really, really, really tough to deal with. But, you know, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do with that situation, like you just said. So, yeah, just something you gotta walk around aware, right? Awareness, keep your head on a swivel, alertness, but can't walk around always afraid. A zombie apocalypse, Max, being eaten alive. I watch a lot of true crime. I feel like that's a legit fear. Damn. Okay. Well, it's on my radar now. I'm afraid of it. I'm now afraid of it. So my wife's watching. She's like, damn, that's one more thing that Max is going to be afraid of, paranoid about happening to him. So, yep. Put it on the list. Being eaten alive. I'm now terrified of that. So I have an idea. Let's do this. I'm rearranging today's show. I'm rearranging the stories that I have for today's show. And I'm going to get into this next one. I saw a video of a wolf being eaten alive by a pack of bears. The pack of wolves tried to save the wolf, but the pack of bears were too big and powerful and too fast. He saw that Hannibal movie with the pigs. Yeah, crazy. Totally crazy. Okay, we're getting off of that cannibal subject. It's going to get my video flagged here. Not going to get any more viewers if we keep talking about cannibals. The wolf that was being eaten by the bears was alive and clearly looking for help. It was sad. The animal kingdom is a savage place. I mean, I've seen things on Animal Planet that I don't wish upon anybody. I saw this one the other day. I almost cried. I was watching this video on Instagram of a baby gazelle or something in a river, crossing a river. An alligator was coming for it. So the mother put herself between the baby and the alligator and then stopped and allowed herself to be eaten to save the baby. I mean, I just even saying it right now, I'm getting the goosebumps. I mean, unreal. There's no mercy out there in the animal kingdom. We are moving on. Justin says, once again, Wisconsin, we eat people. Yeah, Wisconsin has all kinds of weird stuff. I don't know what's happening in like the northern middle part of America. You've got Fargo. You've got all Wisconsin, apparently. Idaho. Don't a lot of serial killers come from Idaho or Iowa or something like that? Okay. Seriously. I'm moving on. I'm not talking about this anymore. It's going to make me too emotional. We do have to talk about something serious, though. This one is serious. I can't believe this piece of military history. I did not know this. And it's it's a disgrace. I mean, we talk about, wokeness in the military, racism. It's been a subject that we've been discussing recently. And what do I always say? I'm always like, don't forget, not that long ago, the military was segregated. Look at Charles Jackson French, right? Do you guys remember the Charles Jackson French story? Segregated, rescues his entire crew, and when they finally get saved, they say that he can't stay with his shipmates because he's black and they're white. I mean, that's a real part of our history. That's not that long ago. And then there's this. Fort Benning memorializes soldier lynched 80 years earlier at the post, Fort Benning, as Army acknowledges an injustice. Once again, I have to reiterate, When the Army talks about, inclusivity, wokeness, caring about people, I hardly believe it. I hardly ever believe it that the Army cares. We have to now talk about this. More than 80 years ago, Private Felix Hall, an outgoing teenage soldier training to serve his country in war, disappeared as he made the short walk from his workplace on Fort Benning toward the blacks-only section of the segregated Georgia post. He had to walk from work to his part of the base because the base was segregated, the blacks-only section. Hall's body, bound at the hands and feet and already beginning to decompose, would not be located for 6 weeks, hanged from a small tree in a shallow ravine in a wooded section of Fort Benning's training grounds less than a mile from where he was last seen. The 19-year-old had been the victim of a lynching, the only one known to have ever occurred on U.S. military grounds and likely at the hands of fellow soldiers, though the murder was never solved. So nobody ever paid for it. And he was missing for 6 weeks. Doesn't that ring a bell about people in the Army going missing for long periods of time without being, searched for or found? For the first time, the Army is telling Hall's story by erecting a historical marker Tuesday at the location where on February 12, 1941, he was last seen alive. The spot today sits just off the jump training grounds of the Army's Airborne School at the busy intersection of Merchant Ave and Edward Street and within a short walk of the post's massive headquarters building, home of its maneuver center of excellence. Army officials said they plan to add markers, locations, and the nearby site where Hall's remains were discovered to the Fort Benning official historical tours. So our Army Lieutenant General Ted Martin, which is a 3-star general, be my little general, brigadier general, that's how you remember it. I wish today felt like we were righting a wrong, he says, but I know that we are really just acknowledging one. It only took 70 years. It only took 70 years, and then the military was not even desegregated until 1948, years after the end of World War II. So it took years after the end of World War II for the military to even become desegregated. Probably people out there watching have parents who were alive in 1948. I think the Department of Defense is setting a very, very positive example by recognizing the indignities suffered by Private Hall, even at this point, 80 years later. 80 years. Oh, my math is off. 80 years. 1941 to 2021. 80 years. It was a horrendous situation, and it's a reminder, really, of the lessons that we have to learn in the context of how far we've come, but how much yet have we to do in order to get to a point of equity and justice and to really realize the kind of country we all would like to have, and as have been said so often, of a more perfect union. It honestly makes me go, this kind of thing honestly makes me go, rename, just rename the base. If this is the issue, if people are trying to get away from this kind of history, just rename the bases and do it, in a show of unity to move past this type of stuff. These bases that were segregated. A man was lynched on an Army base. They're saying likely by other soldiers, and no one was ever prosecuted for it. The bases will all be renamed within the next 3 years. Congress ordered and legislation passed this last year. So it says here, the memorial that they've erected says, on 28 March 1941, Private Felix Hall was discovered hanged by the neck with his hands and feet bound. A 20th Engineer Regiment platoon found his body in a ravine near the Chattahoochee River about 1,000 meters west of this location. Private Hall enlisted in the Army in August 1940 and served as a rifleman in the 24th Infantry at Fort Benning until his murder. Although investigations by Fort Benning Provost Marshal and the FBI were inconclusive, the press referred to Private Hall's murder as a lynching. Hall's death and other events over the next 7 years where African-American service members were denied equal access convinced President Truman to take action. He initially formed the Civil Rights Commission, and on 26 July 1948, he directed the full integration of the U.S. Armed Forces. Since 1948, the U.S. Army has led the nation in creating an environment for soldiers from all races and backgrounds to serve proudly in defense of our nation. The U.S. Army remains focused on reflecting on the past, present, and future to ensure every single soldier is afforded an equal opportunity to excel in supporting of the Army's mission. Private Felix Hall was last seen near this location 12 February 1941, erected 23 July 2021. So a little bit of background. I'll just add this. A little bit of background on who Private Hall was is covered here as well. Let me just catch up on the comments really quick. Let's see. Where are we? Did you hear? It was a while ago Alwyn Cash got his Medal of Honor. Yes, but they haven't done the ceremony yet, so I'm waiting for that. Let's see. Charles Jackson French. Wow. How long did it take to find certain bodies on Army bases recently? Have things improved or just a different target demographic for victims? Yeah, good point, Justin. That's a good question. It seems like maybe things have not improved. Let's see. Bruh. He said erected. I'm fine to rename it Fort Benning as long as we get to keep Lumpkin Road. Racism prejudice at its finest. Yeah. I mean, of course, I'll just add here, of course, there are people of all races, genders, creeds serving in the military successfully at all ranks, levels, that exists too. But it's just so important to acknowledge the reality of history here, which is that, here we're just talking about Private Hall, who was lynched while serving in the Army. Absolutely. And who knows? The soldiers who lynched him, who knows what they ended up doing? Did they become sergeant majors? Did they become generals? It's an interesting, thought experiment that those people, imagine. Those people were out there serving in the military too. Who knows doing what? Who knows? We don't know. Inspired by his cousins who had joined the Army a few years earlier, Felix Hall was 18 when he traveled 11 miles from his native Millbrook, Alabama, to a recruiting station in Montgomery. There he enlisted in the service and was shortly on his way to Fort Benning, some 100 miles east of his hometown, where the Army was training an all-black unit, the 24th Infantry Regiment, which would eventually be sent to the Pacific Theater to fight in World War II. The Army was seen by many as one of the few ways out of small-town Alabama where picking cotton and hard labor were the only job opportunities. After arriving at Fort Benning, Hall was assigned to work at the post sawmill when not training for combat. He was known as outgoing, friendly, and well-liked by his peers. Investigations determined some of his fellow soldiers labeled him flirtatious with women, including at least 3 back home in Alabama with whom he regularly communicated. He was a player. He appeared to be a good soldier, said Bishop, citing the heavily redacted FBI report. His office requested the full unredacted report, but the FBI denied its release, arguing it would constitute an unnecessary invasion of privacy. I don't know how that's possible. Hall's life was cut short some 6 months after arriving at Fort Benning on February 12th, just 43 days after his 19th birthday, 19 years old. Oh, my gosh. He was walking through an all-white neighborhood directly between his job site and the colored section of the post where he lived. Horrible. So then the Army goes on to say that they are dedicated to having nothing like that ever happen again, and their commitment to excellence and Army core values and all that jazz. But actions speak louder than words in this case, and I think the Army has a long way to go. Let's see. I would throw down some serious money to get Charles Jackson French spotlighted so we could get the Medal of Honor or at least Navy Cross. Hey, I've got a video up on it. Share that video. Let people know. Make people know about it. And they kick out of it, and they kick out of it. I missed something there, cursed boy. He was 19. Yeah, horrible. He knew what's up. Sounds like possible Emmett Till scenario. Yeah. Yeah. From what I remember, I sometimes when I'm in the moment here on the show and I try to rattle off some like facts about history or something like that, I get them wrong. And I don't know. It's just like an in the moment type thing where I mix things up in my brain while I'm trying to spit them out here on the show. It's the pressure of a live show, man. It's the pressure of a live show. I doing my best for you guys. So I'm going to hold off reciting it, my historical knowledge here and making a fool of myself. But feel free to drop that in there. Let's see. Larry D says, I'm not too hung up about renaming just as long as they are named after heroes and politicians, Medal of Honor and Silver Star recipients as an example. That's right. I agree with you. If bases will be renamed, I hope they're renamed in an absolutely, considerate and honorable way that is something that everybody can get behind. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be necessarily like, I don't know, I donate $1,000 right now to help Charles Jackson French get known or towards a memorial if you know anything. Hey, ScuttleButt Show is always accepting super chats, and I'm doing my best to get information like that out. Just kidding. You guys are great just being here at all. I appreciate it. You guys are the best audience, fans, whatever, community is what I call it, whatever you would consider yourself at the show. If you're new here and you're just tuning in for the first time maybe and you found my channel recently, this community that we've built here in the chat is the best. Lucas is able to stop by here for a minute, and I hope that all of you are proud to be a part of it. I'm really proud to have you here. So let's see. Lucas, welcome. Larry D says, had to add in not politicians. Yeah. Politicians are the worst. And it's very rare nowadays that a politician's reputation survives. How do you live with knowledge of killing your own teammate and going on with your life? That's a great question. How do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself after something like that? And you live with that and you live out the rest of your life? I don't even know. What's up, Lamonk? You're late, but that's okay. You are here with plenty of show left. Unlike Iron Lotus, who I assume will be tuning in at 10:58 my time, right as the show's tuning out. He always seems to make an appearance right at the end. I think super chats are limited to $100, Justin says. I did not know that. Hey, no, wait, I've seen AO Nixo get like a $500 super chat. So I donate to you, Max, but your first kill in squad was team killing me. Bro, I thought we moved on. I thought we moved on. I didn't even know what a TK was back then. I'm a different person now. I've grown so much. Give me a break. All right. I cannot wait. I am like jumping around excited to cover this next story. I mean, I'm seriously amped. It's like the most fun story maybe we've ever covered. Because we finally know who is accused of starting the fire that burned down the Bonham Richard. And this person is there's a lot to unpack here. And I can't wait. I'm so stoked on it. First of all, let me tell you guys a little C story, okay? Let me tell you guys a little C story about being in the fleet, being undesignated, and the fact that I'll just say, it's interesting. Nobody's ever quit Buds. I've never met anybody who quit Buds. You understand what I'm saying? It's always something else. They didn't like me. They weeded me out. It's like the Dan Bilzerian tall tales. Nobody's ever quit Buds. They got a raw deal. Somebody planted drugs on them. Somebody broke their ankle. They had an injury. They didn't quit. I didn't ring the bell. They just thought it sounded like it, and then the admin processed me out. Buds Duds. Here's what happens. Ned Bainbridge, what's up? Buds Duds. That's what we call them in the Navy. People who go to Buds, they quit. Usually a Buds Dud is somebody who quit. Normally people go there, they get hurt or whatever. Like, you might say, oh, it's a Buds Dud, but they have a little bit more respect, okay? But if somebody's known as quitting at Buds, they're a Buds Dud. They're somebody who quit. And they're usually checking into your command, your ship, or your squadron a few months later with some job that they don't want. Here's how it goes. Good day, Max. A bit late, but like they say, better late than never. Alex, what's up? Welcome. Thank you. My first time on YouTube, and I get team killed by the star. Battlefield 2042 is going to have a 9-minute short film. Yes, we talked about that. So here's what typically happens, okay? Somebody joins the Navy. They have a contract. Going forward, they are what's known as needs of the Navy. The Navy's going to give them a job or not. The absolute worst thing is that they get sent to a ship undesignated, which is what I was. I was undesignated. And if they're lucky, and then they hate that, right? They hate that because they're like, I'm too good for this. I'm the man. I'm supposed to be a SEAL. Like, I don't even know I don't know how I'm not a SEAL right now. I should be. I deserve it. I was born to be a SEAL. I'm good looking. I'm athletic. I was a star football player in high school. I don't know. This isn't adding up. Why am I greasing pad eyes? Why am I dragging around chains? How did I get here? I'm supposed to be a SEAL. I can't live with this. I can't be around these losers on the ship, these fleet losers, these dirtbags. I'm more important than this attitude that they have when they check in, which is totally, it's always the people. That's exactly the wrong type of person who would end up in naval special warfare. That's why they didn't make it. And now they're continuing this road of failure into the fleet. We had a guy on a ship. I'll tell you guys a little sea story. We had a guy on a ship who he checked in to the same shop that I was on. And he came from Buds. And the rumor was that, he had made it all the way to phase 3, third phase of Buds, almost done. And then they kicked him out and sent him to the ship. And I don't know if this story that I'm about to tell you is true or not, but he his version of events, he had a pretty bad attitude. I mean, he showed up and did his job, but he was a really negative person to be around, a negative Nancy, if you will. And his whole thing was his story. It was the third phase of buds. It was almost over, and they found creatine in his locker, a very common workout supplement. Your body produces creatine. They used to have creatine in Sobe drinks that I used to drink after playing basketball in high school. If you guys remember, Sobe had a little lizard on it. And he said that because they found creatine in his locker, they kicked him out. He ended up on the USS Ronald Reagan with me. I don't know if that's true or not, but he had a bad attitude. There are tons of people who they don't make it through selection buds for one reason or another, and they end up in the fleet with a job that they didn't want in the first place, and they don't want that life. But that's the contract. That's the deal. Maybe you never considered it for yourself. Quitting is not an option. And so now we are finding out this incredible news that just had me so excited. SEAL dropout whose shipmate said hates the Navy is suspected in Bonham Richard fire. And we've got a picture of him. So this person, who is the suspected person, Ryan Sawyer Mays, who, let me show you guys a picture of him. This is this guy. Look at this picture. You're seeing it on your screen right now. If you're listening on the podcast, just you can find this article on Task and Purpose. His comment here is, I love the smell of napalm. And look at this guy. He's duck lips. He's duck lips. He's just in every conceivable way like a douchebag. I mean, that's what this picture exudes, is douchiness. And it looks like he's on the ship, although he looks like that's a big rack. Like, is that what the racks on the Bonham Richard look like? They got big racks. That's awesome. We didn't have that kind of space on the Reagan. So it's this guy. Now do you have the picture of him? Sorry, I have the sniffles. Let's cover the story here. They're saying that Ryan Sawyer Mays, who was known as having a negative attitude, he didn't like being on the ship, he didn't like being undesignated, working in V2 out on the ship, had gone down below decks, sabotaged firefighting equipment and fire systems, and then started a fire that would later ultimately cause injuries, thank God no deaths, and the decommissioning of one of the Navy's most famous ships, the Bonnie D, the Bonham Richard. The fire burned for 5 days. Firefighters were injured, smoke inhalation, heat injuries, COVID. On July 29th, the Navy announced that it had charged a sailor in Article 110, wrongful hazarding of a vessel, in Article 126, aggravated arson. Records on Mays released by the Navy shows he reported to boot camp at Naval Station Great Lakes 29 May 2019. 2 years. In the search warrant application, investigators said that Mays joined the service with the intent on becoming trained in the advanced electronics. Training began. Maybe it was in-dock phase. Who knows? Was it week 1, day 5? Was it in-dock phase? Was it prep phase? It's, this guy does not sound like no rock star on paper here. He ended up becoming an undesignated seaman, which is like the worst thing you can be in the world. He checks into the ship, and he just goes into this labor-intensive job, it says, which that's very true. Being a bosun's mate's labor-intensive. Being undesignated is like the worst thing you can be. You get crapped on by everybody. According to Navy leadership, the morale and behavior of sailors who had aspired to become SEALs and then find themselves serving in a more traditional role on the Navy ship are frequently very challenging. It's like Thanos says, you couldn't live with your own defeat. So where did that bring you? Back to me, deck department. And the ship's command master chief identified Mays as a person who showed disdain towards the Navy. He would say the quote, I love deck, which if you replace the E with an I think you know what he's going for there. Seaman Kenji Velasco told NCIS that just minutes before smoke emerged from the lower V area of the ship previously identified as the likely starting point for the fire, a sailor passed him carrying a metal bucket in his hands and by the bucket itself rather than its handle in front of his torso and sarcastically said, I love deck. Velasco said later he was 90% sure the person he saw was Mays, adding that he was known to use the phrase, I love deck. Hey, I love deck. What can I say? Do you really love deck? I love deck. I love deck. Little Anchorman. You guys recognize that Anchorman reference right there? So apparently this guy had also recently been humiliated by a breakup with a woman. He had been dumped. He made up some random story about her being pregnant which was just invented in his mind. She was never pregnant. And some kind of combination of hating himself for being a quitter in buds, getting dumped by this female, and his life just not going the way he wanted it to. He said, I'm burning this mother to the ground. He said he went office space. Nobody knew where his stapler was, so he burnt that place to the ground. Less than a week after the fire was put out, Perez, the officer in charge of the ship's damage control efforts, conducted a walkthrough of the upper and lower V compartments with NCIS and ATF agents. Let's see. After the fire was extinguished, ATF and explosives investigators found 4 bottles and 2 cans in the lower V, some of which contained small amounts of liquid. Could have been petroleum distillate, like diesel, kerosene, and jet fuel. Carry those things. Pedro, what's up? One of the ship's chief petty officers told investigators August 12, 2020 that he had spoken with Mays on an unknown date after the fire, and that Mays said he had been in the lower V that day to store hoses. Commonly, stuff stored down below decks on the ship, you have to lug it up a bunch of ladder wells. Also, investigators, Master at Arms, say that when this guy was in custody, he admitted to doing it. He admitted guilt, mumbling it to himself. Not on the record, but they heard him say that he did it. He was talking to himself and admitted that he was guilty. Crazy. At one point, investigators say Mays told them he had been engaged to a female sailor, but that the relationship ended when she became pregnant, and Mays learned that you are not the father. This punishment should be a lifetime of undesignated service to the Navy. Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible life that would be. I wouldn't want that. Let's see. I'm saying this guy's punishment should be E1 undesignated for life, unpaid. Sounds like the beginning thought process of stolen valor. The SEALs don't accept people who are inherently bad in skill and have an underlying health condition. True. If you think you're owed something, you're not going to make it. Very true. People got dropped from swimmer school for finding creatine in the rooms, lockers, cars, but you're a pretty good judge of character, so you probably know if it seems legit. Yeah, there was something off about that story. Let's see. If you need leaders in SF groups, basic leadership includes a degree of humbleness. Anyway, getting off topic. No, it's true. Bruh. Curse Boy is always hitting me with the bruh. What would they burn you for creatine, though? Why would they burn you for creatine, though? That would be like burning people for taking caffeine, which they don't serve in butts. No way those are BHR racks, 3 high, unlike the bridge. Yeah, I know, right? That's what I'm thinking. He was never worthy of the military. He was a cloud chaser. So true. Is there anything to that report about Navy fleet preparedness? In what way? What's your question about? I didn't see anything. There's a few cases of people having injuries during training, and they were saying it was because of creatine. They may have evolved on this, but at the time, creatine was supposedly harming people. Interesting. Seaman, wow. Yes, you spelt it wrong, though, Curse Boy. It's S-E-A-M-E-N. I ran the DC shop on my ship, Larry says. I still can't believe one guy did that much damage. He may have started the fire, but no deck ape is going to know enough to cripple the ship of that size. Right? That's what I was saying, too. Like, it kind of blew my mind. How did... it would have had to have been like a major class Delta fire. Huh? You guys impressed with my firefighting knowledge? You know how I keep up on all my Navy information? Because right next to me, I keep a Blue Jackets manual. I always keep my Blue Jackets manual as a trusty chief select in the Navy. I have to be ready to counsel sailors at all times. So I keep my Blue Jackets manual right there. Make sure you guys have yours as well. I need like an affiliate. How did that person destroy a ship? Like, when you talk about the Navy being ready for combat, if an E2 can burn down a ship, an undesignated seaman E2 can burn down a ship, I'm scared for all of us. Undesignated seaman is probably common on long deployments. He could not embrace the suck. Very true. Seaman strong. Sounds like FUBAR. Yes, totally. Office Space. Indeed. Looks like we got to the bottom. Looks like we got to the bottom of this case. I suggest you watch Chris Chan, Comprehensive History by Jeno Samuel. Okay, I'll check that out. Hell yeah, you're badass, Beaufort says. Thank you. Hope my wife read that comment. Did you see that one, babe? I'm badass. So, to everybody out there who went and tried to join Special Forces, go to selection, and it didn't work out for you, and you're honest about it, I applaud you. We had Jason and Keith on the show a few months ago. If you guys remember that episode, they came on, they kept it real. They said that they quit because it was hard. And it's not for everybody. I respect that. Tell the truth. And I got a lot of respect for that. It's all about being honest. And if you can do that, then you can probably get through life. If you're just honest about being yourself. Like, just be the person that you are. And people will be pretty accepting of you probably, unless you're a cannibal. I can't believe I brought this back to cannibals. How do I do it? Hit up to invest in gold here or something like that. So it's pretty good. Task and Purpose has a good article on it. Here's a picture of him as well after boot camp. He's not even wearing his Dixie cup, right? Correct, I should say. They blew a 10-foot hole in Nicole, and she's still sailing today. Yeah, I know. Crazy. There's 59 parts so far of the Chris Chan Comprehensive History. Oh, okay, I'll check that out. MC's laughing hysterically. Thank you. I take that as a compliment. Look at this guy. Just, you know what he is? He's a scrub. And you guys know the Navy's official position on scrubs. The Navy doesn't want no scrubs. A scrub is a guy that can't get no love from the Navy. Okay? He's sitting in the Undez deck department trying to holler back at his fiance who got pregnant by another dude but actually didn't because he just made that up. It's just not good. Not good. So here's some pictures of the firefighting efforts. It's some more pictures of firefighting. Sending the ship back to sea for the last time. Then the NCIS affidavits here. You guys can look this up if you want to on Task and Purpose, the entire NCIS investigation report right here. Maybe I'll go through that and do a more comprehensive video on this whole thing, but it's just, it's out of control. This guy, how did he, it's like inconceivable. How did this guy burn down the Bonham Richard? How, dude? How? It doesn't make any sense. Yes, I am looking forward to the 2042 short film. I'm very much looking forward to it. We're going to do a reaction here on the channel. Someone read my name as IKEA the other day. It's so sad, guys. Can we hit 30 likes on this video to make me happy? Yes, let's get some more likes. We got over 100 views. Way to do it. Didn't he also say you shot him in a video game? Suspiciously inconsistent. Yeah, I'm sorry about the whole squad fratricide deal. What do you think of Marcus Luttrell? Do you think he lied in his book? Techno Ruffles, no comment. How do you bomb your own ship? You know, Techno Ruffles, there's a couple things that I have heard in my life in confidence, and I won't ever talk about them on the show. That's why I'm usually quiet about things like Eddie Gallagher, like commenting on Marcus Luttrell. Here's what I'll say. The Lone Survivor mission, Americans were killed fighting heroically for their lives against the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. And that's never to be discounted. That's never to be discredited. That did happen. Those things did happen. Thousands of people were involved in a rescue, recovery mission. Marcus Luttrell survived out there for days, wounded badly. People were killed trying to rescue them. I mean, you could never discount that in any way. And people go at, say that, that mission, went bad or that, it wasn't handled well, it wasn't planned well, whatever it is. The only thing that really matters looking back on it is that unless you're trying to, process improve, but from a perspective of just a citizen looking in, the only thing that really matters is that Americans died tragically, violently in a fight for their lives. And we should honor their memory, with respect. So I'll just leave it at that, I guess. Techno gave me a fair. I would let you team kill me any day, Max. Thank you, Ika. What a great compliment. All right, I got one more thing for you guys today. I got one more thing. We might end a little early. That's fine. I'm going to go take care of the dog after this. So I'll be back to play through Battlefield 4 with you guys later. I will be doing that today. But I got to go take care of the dog. There's a double typhoon coming to Okinawa. A double typhoon. 2 typhoons converging into a super typhoon. It's raining outside right now. A super typhoon is coming. It's going to destroy this island. I'm going to be up to my neck in water in this room probably by the end of the weekend. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to be doing a lot more random live streams throughout the day. I'm going to be working hard on content for you guys, and I'm going to be sharing it throughout the week. So stay tuned. There's a lot of good stuff coming. The regular daily show is only a part of what we're going to be doing this week. Just a small part. I get the Chang or DCA knowing how to cripple the firefighting capabilities, but not some E2. That crew was not ready to save the ship, just an old HT's opinion. You're right. They were not ready because they were in port, probably chilling. end COVID restrict. I mean, here's a question too. Okay. Were firefighting efforts that day hampered because of manning on the ship related to COVID? Like, were they on duty section only on the ship? What was the posture of the ship that day? Like, this is all, stuff that has to be considered in the complete investigation that I'm sure will be 10,000 pages long and impossible to read and redacted and all this stuff. But there's so many factors as to like how that fire got so out of control. I don't even know what he used to start a fire that would burn metal like that. So just crazy. What is the military consensus on Jesse Ventura? I don't think anybody likes Jesse Ventura. I've never heard of anybody going, oh yeah, he was a great dude. Since we see a BF4 Chinese sport in a teaser, do you think they are teasing a Chinese faction or the fall of China? I think the Battlefield 4 is about the fall of all of the nations of the world because of climate change. Pedro, stay safe and make some typhoon videos for your show. Okay. Your alien friend just... It's okay. We're okay. I got Goku back there protecting the door for me. So we'll end the show with something fun. Magnesium burns like hell. True. Very true. That's absolutely true. It started class Delta fire right there. Let's do this. Last story of today. It's going to be a little fun. Let's check this out. Robert Patrick leads a gang of crusty Vietnam bikers in the new film, The Protege. So I don't know if you guys can see on your screen there, but that's Samuel L. Jackson, mother effer. And he's ready. He is sick of these snakes in Vietnam. And so he's taken aim to take out the bad guys with Maggie Q in the new film, The Protege, where Maggie Q plays basically a John Wick type character. And they're being led by Robert Patrick, the original gangster T-1000. Though I think the greatest Terminator villain of all time, in my personal opinion, the T-1000. So let's see what this movie has in store for us. And let me know if you guys think that you're going to want to watch The Protege when it hits streaming or theaters later this year. Let's check it out. Here's the trailer for The Protege.
Most people are good. Some people are bad. But you're the rare gift. So get in and get out. You can always think on your feet anyway.
Not so much tonight.
We sent away so many prematurely. Either by my hand or through you.
We never sent anyone away who didn't have it coming. But we all have to pay for our sins eventually.
Ooh. Is he okay? Oh, maybe he's not. He might not be okay. You can't take out Samuel L. Jackson like that. Come on.
She's not gonna run. She's gonna lick her wounds, and she's coming after us.
Oh, director of Casino
Someone killed
Royale.
a friend of mine
Okay,
because of a
okay.
contract he completed years ago.
Oh, yeah?
You give me answers, I'll be the last thing you ever say.
Why don't you just consider it a mystery best left unsolved?
You know that I'm no good.
Oh, the classic
this
mirror
up.
shot.
You're gonna die.
I just wanted to end their life. And anyone standing in my way.
You're intrigued by her. Curious.
Give us bad manners.
No. I'd really like to see you again, under different circumstances.
These are the best circumstances you'll ever see me in.
August 20th. That's right around the corner. What do you guys think? Are you fans of Maggie Q? Does that movie look good? Did anybody see Robert Patrick in there at all? Like, where was Robert Patrick at? I feel like did I miss that? What is that? How did I miss Robert Patrick in that? So I'm actually pretty excited to watch that. August 20th. That's in about 2 weeks. So that should be cool. I love these movies. Anthony, what's up? I love these movies where the like old Vietnam vets are you know, getting back into action. Like there's a movie out there called The Vets or something like that, where these Vietnam veterans have to defend a VA, or I'm sorry, a VFW. Oh, it's called VFW. These old Vietnam veterans have to defend a VFW against like these drug addicted, you know, punk rockers. It's awesome. We had The Five Bloods, was great. Totally great movie. And now this, The Protege. So are you guys going to watch that? I definitely am. There's no question about that. If you guys like Maggie Q as an actor, Michael Keaton, The Vulture, and some good John Wick style action, let me know. Angry Contractor says, have you finished covering the Bud's failure story? Yes, I have. It was probably about 20 minutes ago. If you want to go rewind back and watch it. Let's see. So much glass breaking, a hot Asian. What type of dog do you have? I have a German Shepherd and Black Lab. We have a mutt. Our dog is a mutt, a beautiful little girl named Bree, and she's the best. If I don't hear an MF bomb from Samuel, I'll be disappointed. Me too. Time to watch a 90-pound woman beat up 200-pound men. Let's go. I'm getting so much buffering, Larry. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I hope that's probably on me. Let's see. Oh, and I can't really explain it. It doesn't make any sense, but it is the way that it is. I'm playing Arma 3 right now, so I'll be listening. All right, guys. I apologize about the buffering. Sorry about that. It's blame the typhoon. Whatever this typhoon's name is, it's that typhoon's fault. But we're at the end of the show. I want to thank you guys all for tuning in to today's episode. As always, all the ways to support the channel are linked in the description down below, including merch like the shirt that I'm wearing right now is available at ScuttleButtShow.com. Patreon, join as an elite patron. Get a free t-shirt on your second month of membership. Join the channel. Click the join button down below. Become a member. You can become a member of this channel. For everyone who got their t-shirts this month, I hope you guys are enjoying them, rocking them proudly, and you know, repping the ScuttleButt Show out there. You're the best. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll be back live in a little bit to play some Battlefield and more special content coming very soon. Okay? Kevin Costner will always be the guy from Waterworld. Sure, totally. Join the Discard. Oh, epic drone placement in the back. Totally. It's over. I just joined. I'm sorry, Contractor, but come back for the gaming stream and you can watch more of me being ridiculous, which is what we're all here for, right? Alpha Mike Foxtrot, well, I missed, but hey, it was great while it lasted. Hey, you can always go watch it back on replay or listen on the podcast where all these episodes become available shortly after they end here. Good night, guys. Sub and support. Thank you. I'll be waiting for the BF stream. Nice. All right. With all that being said, like I said, thank you guys very much. And shout out to my wife who got to watch for the first time ever. I appreciate you being out there, tuning into the show. I hope that it was good. I hope I did a good job. And until next time, that's the Scuttlebutt.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.